Okay. Quiet in the studio.
I think I've said this before, actually. Yeah,
I've said it before. Quiet in the studio.
Oh, I've heard you.
Said what? I haven't.
You just cannot get the right guests nowadays.
Tell us.
Well, here we are. Who is suffering from withdrawal symptoms of the election?
Not me.
What about you, the Gazelle?
Well, I am. I'm just filling in my expenses. Bit of a nightmare, actually. But there we are.
What?
These things have got to be done.
He's got to put all that brony down, hasn't he?
One page. It's a wonder they haven't given you any kind of instruction manual on how to do it.
You need one.
Government, innit? Put out you want down, they do.
So why don't you put down your expenses were $5 million?
Private jet to Wimbledon.
Hey,
there we go.
We got to talk. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. It is the biggest thing, and I think Mark's got a few words to say about it. The big thing that happened in Pennsylvania when Donald Trump was almost assassinated. Tell me, people, what were the reactions? What did you think, Mark?
Not good. But to be honest, it wasn't really a surprise. So when people, and when I say people, I mean the left, the fake news, the media, the Democrats, Labour, schools, etc., continually use dangerous rhetoric, right, to falsely label someone to the point where he's akin to, no, actually not akin, but worse than the worst person in history, literally Hitler. Then it's no surprise as if people take it upon themselves to assassinate them or for someone to arrange said assassination. Yeah. I'm keeping an open mind on that one, but it is coming, isn't it? You just see it. I'm surprised it's took, this long, really.
Gazelle?
Shocking.
Well, I think we should just start to think of him as Saint Donald, because somebody's actually been looking after him from above, aren't they?
Oh, he's going to be canonized.
Flipping heck. You know, I mean, but I agree with Mark. I mean, something's going on here behind the scenes.
Well, did you notice, just a quick aside, did you notice that Biden took advantage of it in such a way, said that we've all got to come together? That was the main gist of what he was saying.
Yeah.
He said, we're all Americans, right?
He's not been saying this for the last how many years when he's literally been ripping into him every week, calling him the worst thing.
And he actually said something along the lines of, we need to get him in our sights.
The bullseye, yeah.
I mean, that in the bullseye, that's right, Mark. I mean, that can only mean one thing for me.
Yep. So we're going to have a separate podcast about this to discuss it. But anyway, we're going to talk about two things tonight. And the first one in part one is about Labour's first week and their plans, their 8 key plans. Well, I got it to 8. I mean, somebody else could get it to more. And then we're going to talk about Farage. What a win for him. Oh, the finger's gone up from the Gazelle. Take it out again, right? We don't want to... Listen, you got to stop that kind of stuff before we go talking heads. Go on.
I just want to make a note that I know a woman once had 2 days in labour, and she was in a terrible state, so God knows how we're going to go on if we're going to have the first week in labour.
It feels like it's been a year already, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Well,
wow.
And obviously, a bit of a disappointment for Keir, because he is a football fan, that England didn't bring it home. I had memes coming at me from all our Scottish friends.
Yes.
With a load of planes flying across in formation. It's coming home. And then it goes back the other way saying, false alarm.
They're really in no position to close.
I know.
It was the poorest tournament that we qualified. You could qualify after 2 games. We had the easiest run ever to the final. Yet Scotland still couldn't do it.
I know. Oh, God, it was just so funny. I mean, I do like the Scottish humour, especially when it comes to things like that. It's very funny. But anyway.
Well, you've got to have a sense of humour when you support Scotland football, haven't you, really?
Well, no. You've got to have it even bigger. You've got to have an even bigger sense of humour when you're supporting Labour. because their first week, 8 key plans and the challenges ahead for them. Well, what are we going to talk about? It's been quite a busy week for Labour. Do you think behind the scenes that they're all sitting there going, oh my God, I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. That's okay. That's all right, Minister. You just say this. Here's the speech already prepared for you. You just go on camera and you just say this. Oh, okay. You've got to say it. They are totally and utterly a changed bunch of people. Go on, Gazelle.
Let me just carefully go through this. So you've got Ed Miliband.
Finding the cash for wind power.
Well,
we're going to call him Windy Jack.
Hang on. Failure.
Oh,
Ed Miliband.
Yeah.
Mrs. Balls. Failure.
Who Mrs. Balls? Oh.
Who's now what? The Home Secretary, is it?
Yep.
Another failed politician.
Yep.
Helen what's her name? Not Sue, but that's the other one out the Muppet out the other side, isn't it?
She
what's her
still
name?
failed. Yeah.
Yeah, the one who got sacked for saying the white van man is atrocious, etc.
Emily Thornberry.
Emily Thornberry. Another failed one. Oh, who else was it? I had somebody else earlier on. We've got 4 failed past politicians that have been put into ministry.
Yep.
You couldn't even write it. I mean, David Lammy. I was searching all over YouTube last night for the interview where David Lammy had an interview with David Wolf. Remember from UKIP?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And David Lammy was saying, this is what we fought for in World War II, to save the EU. And Stephen Wolf looked at him like, what? And I've searched for that last night and I couldn't find it. David Lammy and Stephen Wolf were having an interview, and David Lammy said to Stephen Wolf, this is what we fought for in World War II, to get EU. And he looked at him and said, what? The EU didn't turn around until the 1970s.
So there was no Hitler or any of that? It was just the EU, yeah.
Just the EU, I think.
I missed all that.
What are you talking about? I mean, and he's now our Foreign Secretary.
No.
I mean, I must say, how long is that going to last? Let's just see what happens.
Well, let's just go back to the key points. Wind. Now, it's a key engine of change for Labour.
Yeah, they are full of it. Sorry, carry on.
It's going to help the UK economy. The new government has promised big steps, doubling onshore and quadrupling offshore turbines by 2030. Now, they price this up. The initial plans, and these are coming from third parties, the initial plans are around about 150 bill. By 2030, it's going to be something like 1 trillion, the cost. So,
wow.
So where is it? Where is it that this is going to make a massive difference? Because all I can see is I can see countries like Germany and France who will be making a lot of money by getting involved with the new onshore projects. I can see them making a lot of money. I can also see the manufacturers of these turbines making a lot of money. But what are we doing? What are we making?
We're making China wealthy.
We're making China wealthy. And while they're building coal-fired power stations...
Yeah, I was going to have that bit, yeah.
to make their own electricity cheaper. So that's the first one. You know?
You should have got that clown music ready for this one, I think, John.
It's an absolute ass, right? So by 2030 or 50, whenever we achieve it, we get zero, we get zilch, we get net, right? What difference is that going to make in the world?
Nothing. Nothing. So let's go on to the next key point. Will new homes...
I'm calling for an election now. I want an election.
No, not again.
Will new homes help first-time buyers?
Well, not if they're filled with immigrants, they won't.
Well, Labour want to build 1.5 million homes in England in 5 years.
I want a 28-year-old, but it ain't going to happen.
It's like one every 20 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's 822 homes every day.
Oh, we need more Polish builders.
I'm telling you. How are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? They can talk a big deal, but I'm sorry. I mean, when has house building ever met any government's target?
I know how they can do it. They'll just have to buy 1 million of those Amazon houses and just plop them in a field. Job done. Just don't put loads of snow on top of them because the roofs collapse. But anyway, moving on.
Well, moving on. The next point. A plan to fix the NHS.
We went through this one the other day, didn't we? Where they had over 100,000 jobs not filled. Yep. But to keep up with the current rate of immigration, we needed an extra 15,000 each year. Yeah, it's not going to work, whatever the plan is. But come on,
the first thing we're going to talk about is the backlog. Tackling that backlog. It's a key priority. How are they going to do that? You know, they're going to get an extra 40,000 appointments and operations.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I was just going to say, they could use all them new hospitals Boris was going to build. Oh, no, they didn't get built.
They didn't get built. 40,000 appointments and operations a week in England alone. And their answer to that is by getting the NHS staff to work weekends and to start, listen to this, to start using the private sector more.
Oh, the one they moan about. I've got an idea. How about less people in the country?
Yeah. But that was what they were criticizing Nigel Farage over.
Mm-hmm.
And they very clearly said that they're actually going to use the private sector more. We're talking about making a clear plan to fix the NHS, Gazelle.
So,
yeah, I mean, and did Nigel Farage say that? I'm sure he said something like that.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm getting deja vu here. Deja vu.
Yeah. Can I add hypocrites to the list? Along with idiots and morons. Yeah. Imbeciles, yeah?
Well, and you've also got long waits for treatment. And we're talking about in the millions. So if you actually start to look at how long people are waiting, there's over 8 million people waiting more than 1 year for an operation. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Yes, I've just booked in a hernia this morning, and I booked it for 2029 February.
Can I just add, the NHS are already taking some of the backlog. I know, because I've used a private hospital for 2 operations, possibly going to be 3. Got them really quickly. So what's the problem with it all again?
Well, it's the backlog that's built up.
I mean private.
Well, they are going to use it. They've already stated that.
It's because they've got no choice.
Well,
it's already being used. That's nothing new.
Tony Blair did it, 1997, PFI.
It's been going on for years.
Yeah.
Since the lockdowns.
Well, we know now that there's going to be serious questions over the defense spending in this country. What do you think is going to happen?
Are we getting rid of the nukes like they wanted to with Corbyn, or is he flip-flopped? We're keeping him again.
Well, he's going to be doing a typical time-wasting tactic, which is there's going to be a strategic defense review, which is going to begin next week. And he said that his commitment to spending 2.5% of national income on defense was ironclad. But he faced criticism for refusing to say when or how that target would be met. So,
Mr. Vague, isn't he?
Yeah. Go on, Gaz.
Again, you've got this obscenity. Well, not obscenity. Sorry. This. How can I put it? Don't know. They're going on about defence all the time. I'm stuck for words here.
You've got withdrawal, political election withdrawal symptoms.
It's what word am I looking for? This obsessity. That's it. Obsessity. That's the word. It's coming back now. Obsessity with defence.
Obsession.
Obsession with defence. Right. Well, I've just been to B&Q last week because I'm replacing my decking. And that decking has gone up. Last time I replaced it was £110 and it's £310 now. So forget defence. What about my decking?
That's gone up. Don't buy defence. It'll be about 400 quid.
Well, I'm not even thinking about that. Like I say, my decking's costing enough without defence.
Okay. Well, here's another one for you. Helping people.
Go on.
Go on.
I was just going to say, what are we spending this 2.5 on? We've got no military.
But they're also giving $3 billion to Ukraine without question.
That's where I was going. Yeah, it's not really for our military, is it?
No.
We're back to the money tree again.
Yeah, wow. I remember they said there was no money, and then 2 days later they found loads.
Absolutely.
Can I have some? Can we have some?
Okay, here's another part of the key plan. Helping people back into work.
I know how they're doing this.
Go ahead.
Releasing them from jail early so they can get back into work early.
What, to get back out burglarizing their neighborhoods again quickly?
Sorry, I think we're going to come on to this one in a minute. But.
Okay. The number of people who are economically inactive due to ill health has risen by 700,000 since the pandemic to 2.8 million. So they're going to try and tackle the levels of worklessness to create a new national jobs and career service. And it's going to be based in job centers. So there you go. There's their answer to that one. Go ahead, Mark.
Should we not be finding out why there's a health crisis, if it's real, and if it's real, what the problem is? Or are we just going to let that escalate while trying to solve the other problem? It's the same thing again. You're always fighting a race against somebody who runs twice as fast as you and you've given a head start to. It just makes no sense.
Well, our lady that's in charge of that is Liz Kendall.
Who?
Liz Kendall.
Who?
Mint. Absolute mint cake.
I've heard of Howard Kendall, but Liz, what's she famous for?
Yeah.
Mint cake.
Mint cake.
Right, okay. Should be good.
Right, well, here's the biggest one for you. And this is going to get Mark going.
Mm-hmm.
How to deal with the asylum seeker backlog, which that's the biggie. Labour's manifesto promised to scrap plans to send asylum seekers to Rwanda.
Where are they going?
Well, first question you got to say is, how much have we actually paid Rwanda? Answer, about 245 million. Are we going to get any of it back? No. Kigali has said no, he's not giving any of the money back. And this is how stupid Labour is. They didn't even call him first to let him know that they were cancelling the Rwanda plan before announcing it here.
Oh, brilliant.
That's smart thinking, isn't it?
So he'll probably sue him.
Well, he can sue all he likes. It isn't going to happen.
So where are all the immigrants going again? I know, coming to a HMO near you.
Well, that is the way that it's going to be. Now, if you get onto the subject of immigration, and it's a separate podcast all in itself when you think about it. But, quite literally, and I'm going to bring the Gazelle in straight after this, quite literally, if you are bringing in more people, the birth rates are going down, the pressure on the hospitals and the infrastructure is going up. What the hell are you supposed to do with that? And I hope that nobody just turns around and says anything else other than deport, send back, stop, put the borders up right now. Go ahead, Gazelle.
I've just had a vision.
Nostradamus.
Nicodemus, don't forget my brother. Nicodemus. I've just had a vision now of the future, and England will before long be looking like China. All those ricochets or whatever they're called, where they're running around.
Ricochets.
Whatever they are, right? And all them bikes in China. Have you seen them all? You can imagine it. You can imagine it. Just get that vision in your head. It's going to be like that in Britain in the next 5 years. They're going to have all them Uber Eats bikes. They're going to be everywhere. They'll be banging into each other in all the major cities in our country. Uber Eats. There's only so many takeaways you can have,
What? And cities around here now.
And we're going to have baboons all over the churches. and what else? We're going to have cows walking in the streets.
I'm not being involved in this.
Cows in the streets. They wouldn't last 5 seconds in like Bradford and Oldham, that would be the cows in the streets.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Well, the big thing is...
It's true, though, isn't
it? They said...
All the sheep have gone.
There's so many people left. There are so many people that haven't been processed in the asylum system. And because they've not been processed, and due to the Illegal Migration Act, it says that people who arrive illegally cannot claim asylum. Now, they cannot claim asylum. So how is this new government going to deal with the estimated 100,000 people caught in this legal limbo? How are they going to deal with it?
I don't know. Do you remember the old government, what they called?
I can't remember. No, I forget it.
Fake conservatives.
Cons. That's it.
They were the
fake
ones.
conservatives,
That was the one, yeah. Distant memory. Apparently, out of the backlog, I think they were letting about 70% in. So the 30% they weren't letting in must have been pretty bad. So what are we doing now? We're just letting them all.
That's their only option to actually, supposedly they're going to help ease certain things by relaxing certain rules, but they haven't said. There isn't any real definition or terms to what they're saying they're going to do. They're just going to say, we're going to sort it out. Well, how are you going to sort it out? Well, we're going to sort it out. And then we'll come back to you when we have.
Tackling the gangs abroad, that's how they're going to sort it out. Keir's already been there. He's sorted it all out before, Keir. He's our man in the cape. He's going to sort it out and sort all these gangs out. Stop it, you naughty boys. Don't do any more.
Or I'll say, stop it, you naughty boys. Don't do it anymore. Go on.
That's it.
Back. Go on, Stats.
I've been asking Labour voters some questions this week. Don't seem to have any answers. But this was one. I asked them how many of these illegal migrants did you vote to accept to just give free rein in the country? No, we voted to save the NHS, they say. Okay, you might have thought you voted to save the NHS, but back to my original question is how many illegals did you vote to just let in without any checks? And none of them have given me an answer yet in a week. I'll keep trying, but I don't fancy my chances, to be honest.
Ain't going to happen.
I think some of them have got buyer's remorse or they just don't care.
Well, here's closely linked. Prison release plans, which they're talking about, are not without risk.
Tony Bennett.
It is a true fact that they're at capacity in England and Wales. They're practically there to full capacity, and prison staff are under immense pressure to find spaces that actually don't really exist.
Not as much pressure that looking at stats says looks like the top of your head's going to come off. Like a pressure cooker.
Go on, Stats.
This is another question I've been asking these lovely Labour voters. I said to them, how many prisoners did you vote to release early? No one's given me an answer. I've asked them, which ones should we release first? Should we release the stalkers that you spent years trying to clamp down on? Or is it the paedophiles who've had the images on their computers? Or is it domestic abusers? Not got an answer either, so I'm not sure which ones they all want let out en masse first. But my main point of this is if you're going to let people out of prison, then we're going to actually just let all the illegal immigrants in. And then a percentage of them, let's face it, are going to commit crimes, yeah? Where are they going? Is this just not now a blanket, what you could say, just a free-for-all? Where anyone can come and you're not going to go to jail unless you literally, violently do something. Is that it now?
I've had a vision.
Wow.
They'll go into the naughty HMOs. We're going to build about 20 naughty HMOs, and that's where they're going to go instead of jail.
Here's an idea. Could build a jail. I don't know, it's revolutionary, but might fix it.
Might be the answer. And
ridiculous.
But, well, before I go on to the last one, give me the last word on that.
State.
Go on, what was the last one?
Well, the last one is there's been a lot of talk over the water bills.
I wonder, why do we need to use more water? Would it be because we've got more people? Just
strange that, isn't it?
Something happened, didn't it, once, and now we need more water. But come on.
Well, they're trying to get it so that, because there's a big argument going on between the water companies and Ofwat regarding how much they can increase the bills, because they've been told that any increases have actually got to go towards infrastructure and not into the pockets of the shareholders or the executive. And they've been told that clearly by the government. That's what it said, because all these points that I'm making I've sourced from different articles and different things. And it's coming back that they're saying, no, you're not going to get any money. you're going to have to actually up your investment in infrastructure. And so they are complaining to Ofwat saying, look, we're going to need bigger price increases. And the government are going, I don't think so. Supposedly. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Stats have the final word.
Well, let's see who key is upset then in a week. Well, today I think rain is being pushed out, according to insiders. The unions aren't very happy. They're threatening strikes. And the Muslim vote really are not happy because basically with both the unions and the Muslim vote, Keir Starmer's saying, I don't need you. It doesn't care. I've got a mandate.
That's right, supposedly.
He doesn't care, does he? So they've written him a letter and stuff, haven't they? And he's in now. He's got his seats. He doesn't care if it's a tiny minority of the country that actually support them. He's got his mandate, as he calls it. So he's literally upsetting everybody on his side. The socialists aren't happy with him. The Muslim vote, the unions. Oh, this could be going to plan more if it tried.
There you go. Well, that's going to be the end of part 1. And I know that part 2 is going to be a bit of a doozy. And it's going to give the Gazelle a lot of leeway to talk about his leader, Farage. Okay.
Rare rabbit.